Is it going to be a comedy?
No, probably not. Knowing the guy who's making it, I've hated like every single movie he's ever made.
Rob Zombie?
Yeah, I can't think of a single movie by Rob Zombie I've ever liked.
Didn't he do like House of a Thousand Corpses?
I don't think I've seen House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh, that's supposedly like his best one.
Yeah. He made that remake of Halloween, which was awful and completely missed the point of Halloween. He also has made several of his own like IPs that he just created. Like, what was it? I think it was called Witches of Salem or something like that. I remember being dragged to the theater to watch this shitty ass movie, and it was like an hour and a half of nothing, and then 15 minutes of like a acid trip at the end where I was exposed to demonic priests jacking off, and I'm like, why was I dragged to this piece of shit movie? Lords of Salem, that was the name of the movie. Now I'm thinking about it. That movie sucked. It was probably one of the worst things I've ever seen, and not like in any redeemable way. It wasn't so bad it was good. It was just like a 0 out of 10. One of those artsy fartsy pieces. And
well, supposedly 3 movies of it. Supposedly Planet Terror, The Devil's Rejects, and House of a Thousand Corpses are all decent. Good. Some might say great. But I think I've seen House of a Thousand Corpses maybe a while ago.
I don't think I've seen it.
I haven't seen the other 2.
I think he should just go back to making music. I liked his music.
Yeah. Okay, he also made Slither, which was gross. And not that good. Why does this say that he made Guardians of the Galaxy?
I don't know. He probably had
James Gunn?
Well, James Gunn definitely did. He might have had some work on it. I don't know what he did.
That's weird. Maybe he was a producer or something.
Maybe.
Hey, Elric.
I just know that Rob Zombie should stick to music. He always made great music. His movies are mostly unwatchable.
Yeah, I don't know why Google seems to think this is a Rob Zombie movie. It's definitely not. Not in any way whatsoever.
Yep. But that's not what we're here to talk about today, unless we somehow get through all of the things that we're here to talk about. But before we get to that, welcome to the Vomitorium Weekday show for the 14th of July, 2021. The common era. I don't know, how do we make it to 2021? How have we just not blown the planet because how stupid everybody is at this point?
How have we made it halfway through 2021? It's more than halfway through.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We're downhill for the rest of this year. And
exactly.
Yeah, as always, I'm your host, The Metal, and joining me is my co-host, Marsupial Gamer. Tell everybody how you're doing today. Well,
my chroma cam's working again.
That's good.
So that's good. Positive. Tomorrow night, I guess, at some point, Skyward Sword HD will be available to play.
At first, I thought you were going to say, tomorrow, who knows? It may stop working again.
No, well, maybe. It might. But, yeah, no, tomorrow night, usually it starts working, I think, at, like, midnight Eastern time or something. So, I've got it downloaded on my Switch. I'm excited.
Yeah. And yes, as we did mention before you hopped in, Rob Zombie did do that horrible Halloween remake. Yeah. But I am also doing all right. In fact, I'm wearing my GUR t-shirt because we brought it up yesterday, and I'm like, I might as well just wear this today.
Yeah, I'm doing fine too. Just had work all day. No big deal. Oh, I got gonged off the Effet show.
Oh, did you?
I was on Piper Fizzgiggity's Effet show for 5 minutes and got gonged off. Apparently they didn't like me ranting about video game easy modes. I was like, well, I got to pick a conversation to say something about for 5 minutes, and so I just picked that, ranted for 5 minutes, and nobody liked it.
I think I would have just sang a couple rounds if I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts.
Yeah, and then after I left, they started talking about COVID, and I'm like, God, that's such a boring subject. Why do people want to hear about that? But apparently they did. Who knows? So that's why I'm here, because we're much more interesting over here.
Oh, yes, that's why you're here.
Yes.
Sure.
So what did you want to talk about today?
Interesting conversations.
Wait, I know what you wanted.
Yeah, I told you.
I know what you wanted to talk about. Yeah, you want to talk about Microsoft bringing back Clippy. That's what you want to talk about, right?
But I mean, if it turns into some weird soap opera where he has this former relationship with Cortana, and now they're like fighting over custody of your taskbar, that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Daily, like, battle to the death on your desktop. That would be neat.
That'd be so funny, like in the next Halo, right after he loads Cortana into his thing, he starts hearing another voice, and in the corner of his visor, just Clippy pops up. And Master Chief has to deal with not just Clippy, but Cortana yelling at Clippy the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, there's this old Flash video that I love that you can watch on YouTube, or it's pretty easy to find, and it's called Crab Battle, right? And it's about Metal Gear Solid, I believe 3, and you're Snake in a cave. Like, he's trying to sneak in, and he's like crawling through this dense, tight little cave that he's got to be prone in, and he's talking to, you know, what's her face? I can't remember her name, but his little like receiver on the other end, and he comes across this, like, as he calls it, this cave demon. And it's like, Snake, that's just a crab. Just stab it with your knife. It's like, I don't think my knife will be any use against this monster. It's like, okay, I'll try. And he goes to, like, stab the crab, but the crab, like, claw catches his knife and breaks it. And all of a sudden, Snake is just, like, yelling, Crab Battle! Over and over and over again as he's trying to stab this crab, and, like, at some point, his eye gets caught and is, like, dangling out of his face, and he's just yelling, Crab Battle! And then she's just like, Snake, stop saying that. Calm down. And then, this is the part that was reminding me of this old Ventrilo reference. A dude hops on the other end of the intercom. They're wondering, like, how he even got on this channel. He's just going, like, Oli! Oli, 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 oh! And he just keeps interrupting their conversation with that the whole time. And it's like, it's one of the funniest old internet videos I've ever seen. I recommend everybody watch it. Just type in Crab Battle. It'll probably be the first thing that shows up. If not, you can add in Metal Gear to it. But it's just this old animation. It's great. You know?
Yeah, I found it. I'll put it in the chat for those watching.
Like a Crab Battle, and there's an HD version of it too.
Okay. Silly. Are you insane? They could rip a tank apart. Cool. But you wanted to talk about something else, I think.
I did, which has to do with video games, so we're not entirely off topic. The first thing I want to talk about is, and we talked about this before, it was just a rumor back then, but it's one of those rumors that was very likely to be true and turned out to be. In a Bloomberg report, it is now confirmed that Netflix will be offering video games as a streaming service, like along with everything else. Right now, it doesn't say if it's going to cost you any more, but I would assume it's probably going to end up being an additional fee. And that's always my assumption, especially since Netflix's rates have just been going up as it is over time. But they'll be offering streamable video games on their service. And they hired a former Electronic Arts and Zynga executive, Mike Verdu, to lead the efforts. And that's already made me kind of suspicious. Not so much Zynga, because, I mean, I don't know what he did over at Zynga, but mostly that's the games you play on Facebook and shit like that, like League of Angels and everything.
So, question.
Yeah.
Is this going to be available on the Netflix app on iPhone or on iOS? Because we just had a lawsuit. We just had a lawsuit about that.
Yeah.
Where, what do they call Epic Games was complaining about the fact that iOS allows Netflix, or Apple allows Netflix on iOS, but doesn't allow other game launchers. So they were saying Netflix is kind of like a launcher, especially because they had a couple of little interactive movies like the Bandersnatch. So, was there any verdict on that lawsuit? Or are they waiting? I mean, it's possible the judge is still deliberating. I have no idea.
All I know is that I just killed an entire horde of Bandersnatches in Final Fantasy 15.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Because fuck those things. No, I have no idea what the lawsuit went down for there, but it's looking game streaming service, and it starts with they're making a Stranger Things game, so that it looks like they are going to have originals, but it's much larger in scope than just that. And I don't know how to feel about this. I probably won't use it often. I'm not a fan of the idea of streaming video games. Maybe if it's something that's like I am not interested in at all.
Yeah.
And my friends just want me to hop in and play a multiplayer game with them. It's like, okay, I'll play it this once. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm just generally not interested in the idea of a gaming streaming service.
So, I mean, what kind of games are they going to have? Like, just their own? Or just, like, is it going to be like Steam, where anyone can put their games on there?
I don't know. It is a very early report, right? Like, Netflix has even said they don't currently plan to charge extra for this content. But they have the word currently right there. And that's a very important word to pay attention to anytime a company says anything. That means they actually don't have plans one way or the other, but don't leave it off the table.
Yeah. By the way, the answer is no, there is no verdict yet on Epic Games v. Apple. They finished all their arguments a month and a half ago, but there's no verdict. So. But yeah, it's going to be a question of like, so how is this going to work? Like, are Netflix apps on other devices going to be able to stream games? In which case, is Apple going to allow that? I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows?
You know what else is interesting that might affect Netflix with this and even their music streaming, or not music, their movie streaming service, is the Biden administration has talked about bringing back net neutrality. Right now,
I saw that, which I think might actually be like one of the worst things his administration could do.
Yeah, like right now, presumably Netflix is paying a whole bunch, because I've noticed, like, if I ever have bad internet, like, other services will be chugging along. If I flip over to Netflix, it's just like, no problem whatsoever. So they're clearly paying for some kind of premium connection to everyone and to everyone. So if net neutrality comes back, Netflix is going to get all choppy like everything else.
Yeah.
So,
who knows?
I wonder how that's going to...
The real question is, if Netflix can get that premium and everything else is choppy, why is everything else choppy?
Yeah.
Right. At least you just think like, I don't know 100% the operations of how ISPs do things. But I do know the physical mechanics once it leaves the, like, rerouting station on just traveling through wires and stuff to my location. That part I understand physically. And everything has to go through the same line at that point. There could be some problem over at, like, the end where everything gets rerouted at, like, I don't know, any of the server hubs and stuff. So that could be where the problem comes through. I'm not too keen on that. But I do know there is no difference once it leaves there and starts heading to my house. So it makes you question why everything else has to be so choppy if Netflix doesn't have to be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you have fantastic, spectacular internet or whatever, things aren't choppy. But, you know, I've noticed, like, you know, before I got my lovely 5G iPhone over here, when I was, you know, on LTE and it would occasionally go down to 3G and all that stuff, on my phone, for instance, I could still get to Netflix and still play a freaking movie on there with no problem ever. Like, how does that work? It's like magic. And then anything else, try to open up a, you know, text-based website and it would take forever.
I mean, my conspiracy theorist side of my head would like to say that everything else that isn't paying the premium is just being throttled.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it shouldn't have to. I mean, I've even noticed, like, YouTube is the same way. YouTube will work perfectly. I'll flip over to, like, Twitch, and Twitch is all choppy and you know, slowing down and shit. And I'm like, okay, YouTube can afford to pay for whatever it is, whatever, you know, premium connections they have, but Twitch can't. So I don't understand. Or else, is it that, or is it just the way that their site works?
I know between the two of them, Twitch has a higher, like, codec or whatever. It's there's more kilobits per second coming through in a general Twitch stream than even a YouTube stream. You can see, because people who prioritize and they only do one and they don't multi-stream, they actually do have, like, different encoding rates depending on which one you're on to maximize it. So,
yeah, that's what I expect. And like, you know, same, and then DLive is even worse. So
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think YouTube and maybe Netflix have optimized the way that they deliver video.
Yeah, and that could just be it too. And if that's the case, it's like, okay, there's no problem there. They're better at doing what they're doing to make sure that on low bandwidth you can still get what you get.
Yeah. They're just better than you, just like Anna Kasparian.
And they know it. You trash.
That's right. So I don't know. Maybe it'll affect that or maybe not. But
yeah, I don't see why Netflix should have a problem streaming games, though, as long as there's no issue with being able to do microtransactions, or, like, as long as there's no microtransactions in the games that they do, then that should be no problem. Because right now it doesn't look like you're buying games or anything through Netflix. It'll still be like the same launcher. It's a streaming service, so you're not like passing the store or anything. You're just doing the same subscription service you would have had anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be a question. Is okay. When are they going to add microtransactions?
What if they feel they don't have to? Right? What if they're just, like, getting so many subscriptions from people, and the gaming might solve their problem with limited subscriptions. You know, like how some people share accounts and passwords and stuff. It's like, yeah, but 5 people who want to game at once can't share an account.
Yeah.
Right? So what if they just get so many subscriptions that even just, like, people watching movies who aren't that into games are subsidizing the amount from the gaming side? Like, they just cover everything. They don't need microtransactions. It's possible. Who knows if that'll be the case, but it's entirely possible.
Yeah. Especially if they want to avoid some sort of, you know, battle with Apple.
Yep. And this is something I've been thinking of, and gaming was not the direction my mind went. But I was thinking, like, all these subscription services have been complaining about people sharing accounts. It's like, well, instead of, like, punishing them or complaining about it. You should be taking the mindset of like, well, what can we do to our service to incentivize people to have their own accounts? Like, what would make people want it? Now, if you have multiplayer games, that would be something that would incentivize, because everybody who wants to play this multiplayer game at the same time would need their own account.
Yeah. That would be smart. Is there anything else? I'm not looking at the story, but I mean, does the story give you any more information? Like,
there's a lot in this story. Like, it goes on for a while. But there's not a lot of like important information, right? Talking about how like Netflix kept saying for a long time they had no plans of making a streaming service. You know, Netflix actually used to have a video game rental service back in the day, back when they were still working on discs. You remember Quickster? Very short-lived. But even from back then, they never ruled out the fact that they might do video games in some way. But by keeping that on the table, then everybody assumes, well, it's going to have to be a streaming service because that's all you do now, Netflix. Apparently, Netflix sees Fortnite as a competitor to them, especially because, they think they compete more with Fortnite than they do HBO. Right?
Probably.
And that's probably true from just numbers alone.
Yeah.
So if you see Fortnite as your competitor, primarily focusing on original games that have to do with the IPs you already own, is probably the route you need to go.
Yeah, so I mean, does that mean that they're definitely not going to be offering Fortnite through Netflix?
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah.
But, well, I don't know, probably.
Makes me wonder, like, what games are we talking about here?
Because it does talk about, like, it's hinting that they might be doing third-party games, but it seems like the primary focus is on first-party games. And maybe
so
things
Netflix...
related to it, like maybe the Witcher games from CD Projekt Red might be on there because they've got the Witcher series now. Right? Like, who knows what the crossover will be? This is still very early talks. Though they were doing something with CD Projekt Red for the first time ever over at WitcherCon. So that might be something.
Yeah. Could be.
Yeah.
Alec has an idea. You connect your KFC game console up to it, and you get fried chicken along with your streaming games. Somehow. Beams the chicken over to you over the airwaves.
See, that's like the only thing that I want teleportation devices for. I would never want to teleport because teleportation technically kills you and just makes a new you on the other side.
Yeah.
But, and we wouldn't actually even need for somebody to cook it, because a teleportation is just a modulation of replicators, right? So if we already had that technology, then you could just like replicate a box of KFC chicken or whatever. And that would be, it's like 3D printing. There would be patents on things, right? There would be things you wouldn't be able to replicate because of trademarks and ownerships. And you could pirate it, but if you get caught replicating things that you shouldn't be, it'd be like getting caught with movies and stuff you shouldn't own, and you'd probably go to Fresno prison for some time, or just get a slap. Most people just get like a slap. But that would be the next stage in these type of things. It's like, oh, well, now we have to put trademarks and patents digitally on physical things because now we can replicate these physical things.
Alec is saying, what if Fortnite and Netflix team up so that you can stream movies in the game, I guess? Is that what he's saying?
I guess. I don't know. Well, I know because, like, what
like
was
Second
it? In Fortnite, they have, like, a drive-in movie theater where they can put movies and stuff on the screen.
Yeah.
They did that, what was it, like a Black Lives Matter thing in there, and everybody was like booing it, and they were like throwing tomatoes at the screen and stuff. It was pretty funny.
Now, I don't understand that. Shouldn't they be fighting, or is that a?
You should be. I mean, you can do anything in there, really, but
Is that a piece?
The mist is still coming in or whatever over time, or whatever. Like the thing that kills you off if you're not in the shrinking circle.
Yeah, I don't understand that, because I played it a couple of times. Yeah.
Yeah.
I played it a couple of times, and every time it's like everybody's shooting each other, because that's the point of the game.
I think there was like something special going on at that time, and that was like a lobby you could go into.
I guess. The mist is coming. It's coming. Actually, the very first time I played, I had no idea how to play. And the mist came along, and I'm like, oh shit, what is this? What's happening? What is this barrier?
And then you died.
And I ended up getting caught. I was like, oh shit, and I started to run, but when it closes in, it goes faster than you can run.
Yeah.
So I ended up dying.
You kind of need to be paying attention and get out of there before it comes to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. I remember vividly the first time I ever played Fortnite. Like, what the hell is this? What's happening? I mostly survived by just staying away from everybody else. Like, well, the second time I played, I guess.
Yeah. But, I mean, eventually, if you want number one, you have to confront somebody else.
Oh, yeah. I eventually got killed by somebody. Definitely. Because I'm terrible at shooters. I can't aim for some reason. I have terrible aim.
You just point and you click. That's all you do.
The reticle is never exactly right on. I guess, I don't know. I'm just not good at sniping from a distance.
See,
by the time I get close enough.
Have very like high-end twitch reflexes and spatial awareness and spatial reasoning. So like I can find where the exact center of my screen is just visually. I don't even have to think about it. So you could take my reticle away and I can still like snipe at people.
Yeah. I can't do that. I might have been able to when I was younger, but not anymore.
Yeah, so let's talk about an actual competitor to Netflix. Somebody who gets all of these hours without you ever having to pay a dime. YouTube has added the several Twitch-style live streaming features, including clips, polls, and subscriber-only chats.
Yeah, they're finally catching up to Twitch.
Yeah. Well, there's a problem, though. Because with Twitch, you get most of these features for being affiliate, which is really easy to hit. You need, like, what, 50 followers, live streaming a certain amount of time, and have so many active people. All very low numbers. It's not hard to hit affiliate. With YouTube, you need 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I mean, I guess, I don't know. It's frustrating. This is why I basically went to Twitch only for game live streams. Because, let me see. Path to affiliate. I am an affiliate on Twitch. I needed to have 50 followers. I have about 150 now. Stream for 8 hours within a month period. 7 different days. And have an average of 3 viewers. That was it.
Yeah, it's very easy.
Very easy. Now, I don't even know what you get more for being a partner. Being a partner is a bit harder, mostly because you have to average. I mean, basically, I've actually even covered most of the stuff to get to partner, except for you have to average 75 viewers. Which means you probably have to have at least 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
So, probably more. But I don't even know what that gives you, because you pretty much get everything when you get to affiliate.
Well, there are a lot of things that it gives you, including control, like full control over advertisements on your channel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a few features that come with just partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, partners have all the features partners always have, but then they scraped like some of the most desirable ones, the ones that try to drive people to be interactive on their platform, and put those down in a lower bracket tier that was easier to get into. Right around the time that YouTube made it harder to get ad revenue, so that was kind of like their way of out-competing YouTube. I think it was directly why they made the affiliate program.
Yeah, I mean, you can do custom emotes. I've got a few custom emotes of my own that I can put in the chat there. You get more. Actually, what's interesting is that you get more custom emotes gradually. It's not like you get a few and then as you get partner, you get this many. You get a few more and a few more and a few more as you get bigger and bigger. But yeah, you've got subscriptions, 3 different tiers of subscriptions. Oh man, I love the way Twitch works.
Yeah,
I just love it. So, it's cool that
there are also certain
YouTube
privileges that partners have within Twitch itself and communicating with their boards and stuff. But we're also seeing that is almost like tenureship as a professor, and it really doesn't matter if Twitch doesn't like you. Yeah,
it's almost better if you're, well, I mean, it depends on what kind of streamer you are. Like, if you're a little bit controversial, it's almost better to be an affiliate because you're still going to fly under the radar.
Yeah, well, and also you're losing less if you do lose it. It's easier to transplant and move away if you're an affiliate than it is as a partner. We've seen only like the biggest partners have been able to transplant, and even then it hasn't worked too well for them. Like right before it died, the whole Ninja Mixer thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so bad that Mixer basically just. I thought that was actually a pretty well set up platform. I liked a lot of the things about Mixer, but they couldn't make it, and Microsoft didn't do anything to actually make it take off after they took over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was streaming on Mixer, and I occasionally got like people in my chat on Mixer. Yeah. I was like, I'm not even advertising.
Like interactive things that you can kind of do now with Streamlabs, but it's pretty hard. But like, you had things that only people on the stream side would see. Like, you could use these stickers, and you could send fireworks that would show up on the screen and stuff like that. Stuff that were just for the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just all kinds of cool things about Mixer.
Yeah. But, so yeah, it's interesting that YouTube is playing catch up. It's funny because they added the join feature, the Twitch ad first, and then they added custom emotes, the Twitch ad, and then now they're adding clipping and what else? Clipping and
polls and subscriber only chat, which that for people who are on Twitch and don't spend a lot of time on YouTube, that's the equivalent of a follower only chat, because subscribers on YouTube are the equivalent of followers over on Twitch. It's weird having to say that the other way around though, but I do know there's a lot of young people now who Twitch was their primary thing. They didn't grow up when YouTube was hitting up or anything like that, because for some of us, YouTube being the older platform, it's going into the opposite frame of mind of like, we're used to subscribers being this thing. It's like, oh, but to be a subscriber on Twitch that's paying money.
Yeah. So I think they've had members only streams on YouTube, which is the equivalent of a subscriber only on Twitch. But yeah, they're adding. Well, I guess they already did, because I know of at least one streamer that is now doing subscriber only.
Yeah.
So, which luckily you don't have to pay for. It's just have to subscribe.
Well, some of these things have been being rolled out over like the last month for testing, but now they're hitting everyone that it applies to.
Yeah. So the clip, and we talked about this, I guess, offline. Yeah. For clipping, you have to be a gaming channel.
Yes.
And
gaming content.
have 1,000 subs, or basically be qualified as a partner or whatever.
Monetized. That's just the term that they use. Yes. It is a YouTube partner. They've used the YouTube Partnership Program as the name of it for the longest time, but they keep changing what it means to be a YouTube partner. I mean, I used to be in the YouTube Partnership Program way back when. But YouTube was also a much smaller place back then. So even though I've never had that many subscribers, it was still like easier to get into it, and you were in the community.
Yeah.
Then they did that big change. So 1,000 subscribers, we just call it being monetized. But you could be in that field and not be monetized because like nothing you ever upload gets approved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can get demonetized.
Yeah.
But I assume you still have these features, even if you're demonetized?
Who knows?
Maybe.
I mean, we haven't had them long enough to know if those features can be taken away from you like anything else. Maybe if you get like a strike or something on your channel, you lose all these features just like anything else.
You know, I'm not so sure that it just occurred to me, I'm not sure that the clipping feature requires you to be a gaming channel, because I've seen it. Like,
well,
on
right now in the
non-game
article
channels.
talking about it, it does say that it is for gaming creators. And will expand to all content creators, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen it sporadically.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It makes more sense now that you've said that it requires 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
But I've definitely seen it on all kinds of different channels. So it's just seemingly
I've
random.
seen it on a lot of gaming things. I don't know if I've seen it on other things myself to like, have a second confirmation of that. But it could also be there's a lot of people, and this is something you could technically get in trouble for, but it's really hard to enforce, that label their videos and streams under the wrong categories. Usually I just leave ours under entertainment because it's a broad category, and a lot of times we are talking about entertainment, so I think it qualifies. The other easy thing that you can usually leave your stuff under is people and blogs, because YouTube doesn't have like the category system that Twitch does. If you're in gaming, it'll ask you what game you're playing, but you can just leave it broadly at gaming. You don't ever have to put a game in. But you could easily be under the wrong category. You're not supposed to be, but nobody ever gets punished for it, because it's hard to actually see that,
Yeah. See, here's a channel. It's weird. Here's a channel with just over 1,000 subscribers. Definitely not a gaming channel. It's a talk show. Has the clip button.
That's weird, yeah.
Here's one, Raging Golden Eagle. 68,000 subscribers. Does not have the clip button. And I doubt he turned it off. So I don't know. But it's possible.
Well, the weird thing is, I've seen it on gaming videos, not streams, as well. Like I'm watching a Super Smash Brothers video that's only like 20 minutes long, and it's got the clip button on it, and it's just like, why would you want to clip an already pre-prepared, highly produced video that is already a series of clips? You would only want this for a stream because that's where clipping culture comes from.
Yeah. Well, now, you can't tell as a viewer what category is of a live stream.
That's
right?
why I don't think you can. Maybe if you hit the show more, it might. But I, off the top of my head, don't think you can see what category.
Show more.
Because I don't see tags
show
anymore.
More. No, it just has the description, whatever they put in as the description.
A long time ago. You also used to be able to see tags a long time ago too. Like every video tag used to show up when you showed more. They took that away 6 years ago.
Now wait a minute. Some streams have them though. Here's Game Chops has 3 tags.
Game Chops.
Lo-fi hip hop, steady beats, and Game Chops. Those are the tags.
Yeah.
So it does show tags. But it still doesn't show, but they don't have a clip button.
Yeah. No, Game Chops is great.
Now, not everyone probably sets tags, I'm guessing. Oh, look, here we go. Illustrations by Design, Jiminy Cricket. He has some hashtags, live stream, comics, drawing. But he's only got 777 subscribers.
Yeah. Well, I know there's a way to set like the hashtags and stuff like that, but that's not the same as like the keyword tags that you add to videos.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm positive. Because this is the way YouTube's uploads have kind of, well, because the hashtag thing's a newer thing too. But this is the way that they've always handled keyword tags. Always. Just like the category thing's weird too, because they have like the actual main category, which is like people and blogs, gaming and stuff like that. But those hashtag things are like separate categories you can add.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because YouTube is fucking weird.
Oh. That is weird. You're right, because, okay, I uploaded an unboxing, and I definitely put tags.
Yeah.
I put tags. Where do you even put hashtags? I don't even... You don't have to look it up right now. But, yeah, that's weird. So I put tags, and those are not showing up.
Yeah. No, I know.
Like
I've been doing YouTube long enough.
I don't get it. So if I put a hashtag in there, will it show up?
I believe it's in the more area. I would have to go and look into it, but
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
We'll do that while we're live.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an extra option. That's not the default tags that you do. But there was a point in time, like you roll the clock back to like 2006 through... Actually, when did they take away? It might be more than that. It might have been like 2012 or whatever. But for many years of YouTube, you could see the tags of the video.
Yeah.
And there was even a point where people were putting in like tags that didn't apply to the video so that they could get views. And videos were getting reported for that too. Like that was something that you could report a video for.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this was like a big controversy back in the day. I used to put all kinds of tags in there as well myself. Like some of my older videos, I just have like random tags that... It's not that they didn't apply to the video. It's just that they were vague and arbitrary. Like I'd throw the word awesome in there just to try to get people like typing that into the search bar to see my stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's funny to see YouTube playing catch up to Twitch. I think they just sat on their laurels too long, and well, I mean, not too long. It's not like they're doing poorly, but it's funny that there's all these features that people love on Twitch that they're finally adding.
See, I don't judge them too hard for it though, because they are a video service first, right? They're VOD before streaming. They came to streaming later than Twitch did. So Twitch has been adding all these features, and then they're seeing what's popular. It's like, okay, well, for our streaming end, let's look at what's already popular. There's some ways where Twitch has played catch up with YouTube when it comes to how they handle their VODs, you know? But you should look at YouTube because they've been doing the VOD end of things longer than most other people have.
Yeah, yeah. Well.
Yep.
What else? Did you see Mark Kern's rant or just discussion about World of Warcraft?
Well, if this is something that happened on Twitter, probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Well, there was a leak that's, kind of take it with a grain of salt because there's absolutely no way to tell if this is genuine or not. But supposedly a Blizzard employee, developer, or whatever, put up a really long soliloquy on Reddit about what's going on with Blizzard and just talking about how they're severely losing to competitors like Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh, yeah.
And so Mark Kern took that up and basically said this is, he doesn't know obviously if this is true or not, but in general, in AAA gaming, he said this is pretty much what's going on in AAA gaming. It's that the people who are passionate and innovative are leaving, and leaving, and the people that are left behind are 9-to-5ers that just, that really hate their jobs and don't really care about the game.
Yeah.
And that basically,
you got a combination of basically drones, 9-to-5ers, people who want to be in the industry but they have no passion for what they're doing. They're just like, it's the gaming industry, I want to be in it. And a combination of, in places they shouldn't be, some activists as well. And it's not just there's a few different types of people that just shouldn't be in there that ended up in there because video games are the largest form of entertainment right now. And everybody always moves to the industry that is the biggest industry. That's just how things go. And yeah, so like any art though, all the people who are passionate about it, as things become more factory, more material based, get pushed out, like, no, I'll just go do my thing. I can find somewhere else to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's just saying, they're not innovating, and people are getting sick of these games, and Blizzard has this too big to fail mentality. And sadly, what's apparently happening is that their subscriber count is dropping, but somehow they're still able to extract more money from the whales. So the income isn't dropping, at least as nearly as much as their subscribers. So there's not a whole lot of incentive.
I never got that too big to fail mentality.
Yeah.
Right? Like, logically, it doesn't make sense, other than the fact that we've lived in a society where so many people whose opinions matter believe in the too big to fail, so they don't let big things fail, right? Yeah. But realistically, entropically, the bigger something is, the more likely it is to fail at whatever state it's at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, right?
Yeah, there's physical principles behind this. And, like, you have to work hard to make sure something big keeps growing. Like, that is constant effort. And there's also too small to succeed, but the healthier end tends to be somewhere in the middle ground. Like, these are the things that tend to run on their own long term. You have to try to make it fall apart, but you also have to try to make it bigger. They kind of just find this little equilibrium, kind of like talking about like a niche in an ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and I mentioned that last week Asmongold decided to finally try Final Fantasy XIV for the first time, and he got something like 150,000 people watching. I didn't know because I'd never watched him before, so I was like, oh well, he has a lot of people who watch him. Apparently not. Apparently that is abnormal. Yeah. Like when he does his WoW streams, it's never that big. Like it's maybe half.
Watches WoW.
Yeah. Well, I mean, granted, still half. He would get like 75,000 people watching, but to get double that just because he's playing Final Fantasy 14, like, oh my God.
Think about it this: with 75,000 people watching, he probably has the bulk of all people watching WoW.
Yeah.
As opposed to like moving to Final Fantasy 14, having double that, he probably doesn't have anywhere close to the bulk of all people watching Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it kind of gave a lot of people permission to either jump ship or at least try Final Fantasy. And like in the last couple of weeks, they even had to stop selling digital copies of Final Fantasy.
They were selling like hotcakes.
Yeah, they had to stop so that they could ramp up their servers. So for a while, you couldn't even buy a new copy and make a new account. So it's amazing how much that's grown.
I heard they actually ran out of pre-generated licenses because they only generate as many licenses as their servers can currently hold.
Yeah, something like that. Exactly. That's what I mean when I say they stopped selling for a while.
They didn't have licenses to sell. It's like we only have our server occupancy. Why would we make more than that?
Yeah, which is smart. Prevents overload. And they can just up them when they can. But interestingly, like Square Enix is not a small company, obviously.
No.
They're AAA. but they're not. They don't act.
They're one
So
of the
like
bigger
what Mark,
AAA companies too. Like of all
Yeah.
of them.
right? But Mark Kern was just saying they're not the monopoly right now in MMOs, so they're not acting like a monopoly. So they are
especially
innovating.
at home, right? Because while Final Fantasy XIV is very likely the most popular MMO worldwide, they don't see it that way because they care about their home turf being a Japanese company, right?
Yeah.
And in home turf, they're getting stomped by Phantasy Star Online, especially with the new Genesis that just came out. So they still see it like a competition. They're making their game as if they're competing.
Yeah, and they definitely are. But it's interesting, and what's funny is at the very end of his very long thread on Twitter, the last thing he said was, "Y'all have got to fix to Square Enix. Y'all have got to fix the account creation process." He's like, "It's ridiculous."
It is.
And I concurred, and I actually still have my hour-long video, and I just transferred it to YouTube from Twitch. My hour-long video of me struggling to create an account. I remember that. I was like, what the hell, dude? Like, why can't I figure this out? So yeah, it took me an hour. Well, actually, I just gave up by the end, and then I did it offline, and so I was ready the next time I streamed it. But I was like, yeah, what the hell is up with their shitty account, like, website and stuff? And it's so confusing between the Steam version and the website version. And
the Steam version is so awful though, because it's possible, but like the process of creating a free account for Steam is really fucked up and easily to just like screw yourself from ever being able to start the game free.
Yeah.
Because like, because I accidentally clicked on the full version of the game first and it's tied to my account, I can never make a free account on Steam, and I have to pay for it right away.
Which I didn't. I downloaded the free version.
Yeah.
And I still couldn't figure it out. So I ended up uninstalling that and reinstalling it from their website, and that was the only way I could log in.
Yep.
It was so confusing. And he was just like, guys, take like 6 developers and just redo the whole process from scratch.
It's also weird the way, and it is the problem with the account process, right? This would probably solve it too. Currently, there is no way of going back to a free account, which kind of makes sense. But WoW has figured it out. If you run out of your subscription, you can't play any of your stuff that's over the area, but you can always start a new free character as long as you have the space. They let you start, and you can play up to 20 again. In 14, you can't. Once you get to a paid account, you're always in a paid account, and you can only start playing again if you re-up. Yeah. You can't go back to a limited state with a new character or anything.
That's what they need to somehow figure out. Because it's fucked up.
That would probably be solved if they just fixed the whole account process in general.
Yeah.
And how accounts link to each other as well.
Yeah. That's what he was saying. Just take a new team of developers who know what the hell they're doing and just redo the whole account process from scratch. Because he's just like, this is bullshit. He's like, but other than that, it's a great game, because he's tried it. He's like, I love it. But it was just, apparently it took him 3 hours to figure out how to log in or how to, create an account or whatever. It took me 1 hour, but I'm smarter, so I guess.
Yeah.
But at any rate, so I actually copied over. So I'm gonna maybe I'll edit it a little, but I'm gonna put my video live of me struggling for an hour to try and create a Final Fantasy account.
Should be the name of the video too. It's like, watch a grown man struggle to make a Final Fantasy 14 account.
Yeah, it's crazy. What are we talking about here? Flit's talking about the Nickelodeon Smash game.
Oh yeah, because they put Korra in it. Of all Avatar, The Last Airbender / whatever extended property characters that they threw in, it was Korra because she was the most relevant most recently.
Mm-hmm. Why is that? Is that a Nickelodeon show?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Avatar
okay.
The Last Airbender was Nickelodeon.
No.
I'm assuming Aang is probably in it too.
Yeah.
That just as a hunch. They did also, they put the cover up, but they blanked out the cover for the pre-order, so all you see is like a bunch of silhouettes of everybody layered over each other. And there's this big mass in the center where you can kind of see the outlines of the bigger characters, but who knows what could also be in this blob. Aang could be in there for all we know. He can use wind to float for a while, pseudo fly. There could just be a smaller Aang flying in that mass for all we know. There's no way to tell.
Yeah.
You can see
just like Smash Brothers. Yeah. Just like Smash Brothers, they're going to introduce characters gradually.
Yeah. They only showed 14, and you could already see characters on there like Korra, who is visible. You could see Ren and Stimpy on there. There were characters who weren't in the trailer that you can make out their outlines if they're not in that blobby center left area.
Show us your shirt, Metal.
Oh, yeah, it's a girl. We already looked at this shirt yesterday. I'm just wearing it today. I've had this for a while.
It's an Invader Zim, or it's Gur, is that right?
Yeah, it's Gur.
So it's Gur in that game?
Huh? I don't know if Gur's in the game. Zim is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But his name is weird. Nobody knows what it stands for, because there was the Sir unit, which is... The R stands for robot. I'm trying to remember what Sir unit stands for. But he's a broken Sir unit. They found one in the trash, and they just kind of like shoved shit into his brain. And when he popped up, he went from being like the red, ready to go commander, to his eyes immediately going like teal. And they're like, Gur. What does the G stand for? I don't know.
Tried to mute myself.
So they gave him trash. That's all they did, because they don't like Zim.
What does Sir stand for?
I actually have the page on the Sir unit in front of me. And it is the Standard Issue Information Retrieval Unit. So Standard Issue being a hyphenated word. Information Retrieval Unit. That's a Sir unit. Gur, on the other hand, is probably a garbage issues retrieval unit.
Yeah.
Or garbage information retrieval unit. Because they got him in the trash. But the G has no actual meaning.
I see. Alex says Korra isn't even relevant these days.
No, but she was the last relevant character in the series, because that was the last part of the series that they made. Don't watch Korra. Just read the Avatar: The Last Airbender graphic novels instead that pick up right where the show left off. It's much better and written by the original showrunners, so it actually is. It's kind of canon. Even if Nick doesn't treat it as canon, it's better than canon.
Now, is that a manga?
Yeah, it's a graphic novel made here in the U.S.
Does it read from left to right or right to left?
Yeah, it's normal. It's like you would read a book. Yeah. And it's in color. It's just an original graphic novel done in the exact same art style as Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, okay. I always assumed that show was Japanese.
No.
I've never seen it.
Well, I mean, there was a Japanese studio that helped with like certain parts of animation and coloring, as you know, that happens, right? But no, that was made in Burbank, California, which is like the animation capital of the U.S.
Yeah, I'm sure Flit hates me even more now. Yeah. I don't know all of these Nickelodeon properties. He hated me for what? Not knowing about Invader Zim or something like that. Yeah. I don't know anything about
weebs will actually get on you for being like, when you say your favorite anime is Avatar, it's like, Avatar's not an anime, it was made here in the United States. It's like, well, you also know that anime literally just means animation, right?
Right. Well, there you go. I would never say that it's an anime, because I wouldn't say anything about it, because I don't know anything about it. Yeah. Although I did know that Korra was a character, because people talk about it.
Korra sucks. She's a horrible character. The show was horrible. It had like,
Yeah.
I guess, some promise at the very beginning. And then like within 3 episodes, it went to shit.
Flip says it's not anime. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if your definition is strictly things made in Japan, then it isn't. It's an American cartoon, or American animation. I wouldn't call it a cartoon.
Is it anime style? Is it an American animation? Joshua Hughes comes in with the Teen Titans is my favorite anime.
Now, if you were to go by the Japanese definition, though, they call all cartoons anime in general. Like if you were to, they were talking about, say, Family Guy, they would be using the word anime to describe what it is because they're just talking about animation.
Speaking of Teen Titans, in the last, negative time that we have, why is it that there's, and I've only noticed it once because I don't always watch the credits, there's like one episode of Teen Titans where that was sung in Japanese.
The whole song is written by Puffy, who's a band in Japan. And I thought there was 2 episodes where they sang it in Japanese.
Maybe because I sometimes skip it.
That they have the song written in both English and Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're a Japanese band. Okay. That's why. Yeah.
So just occasionally the credits will be in Japanese.
Yeah.
Just because. So it's funny because that show, I've mentioned before, I'm kind of binging it right now, and it's funny that the show is very much anime style.
When you get to the Nazyarkid episode that I was talking about, instead of Puffy singing the song, the character Nazyarkid sings it in the opening.
Okay.
And it's funny.
Yeah.
It's Ami and Yumi, they're the front of Puffy. They actually even had a cartoon show based on them. They were so popular that they even had a cartoon show based off them called the Hi Puffy Ame Yumi Show.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've heard of that. Yeah.
Where they would, in like a Jackie Chan Adventure, because like at the end of Jackie Chan Adventures, there's like an Ask Jackie section. Well, they would have like little live action bits of them hanging out in a green room. That would be like maybe 20 seconds long, and then you'd have also the cartoon.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I think I used to watch that when I used to watch.
Great band. I listened to them a lot.
Yeah.
They actually had an American tour where instead of translating their songs, because some of the concepts of their songs were like really Japanese and wouldn't translate well, what they did was they actually have different versions of the songs that have like different subjects to them, that it's like all the same instruments and even the same like melody, but they completely changed the lyrics. Like they've had different meanings than what the original Japanese song is. Like Friends Forever has a different meaning in English than it does in Japanese. And it's like, it was really cool. They didn't hit it off very well here, but they did do like a full 2-year tour. Yeah. And I like them. They're a good band.
Yep. I remember that when I had little kids. I used to see that on Nickelodeon.
But that's the show.
It is.
We're here.
Indeed.
We're at the end. We made it. And we didn't even have to talk about the Final Fantasy subject I had saved in the background. The audience was spared. Even though we did talk about Final Fantasy shortly because it had to do with the whole WoW thing. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with somebody else who might like it. And if you really enjoy the show, consider giving a donation to streamlabs.com/Vomitorium live, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye-bye.